Hello everyone, I'm Brandon and welcome back to Caked Up MUAs. So before I start my Halloween tutorial, first I want to say my voice sounds weird because I'm sick. And also, I'm changing up what I was going to do. I was going to do like a full-on transformation into a villain, but I'm going to save that because I might do that next week if we decide to do more Halloween videos. But I decided that a lot of people, when they do Halloween makeup, they do like really complicated transformations like into characters from like horror movies and stuff like that. But I mean, who the fuck has time to do that on Halloween? Like, bitch, I'm trying to like have fun on Halloween, not spend 6 hours doing my makeup to go out, have it sweat off while I'm out, and then, you know, like, there's no point in that. So I'm gonna do more like ooky spooky Halloween makeup that just goes with like more of like a plain like deep dark vampy outfit, you know? So like if you want to do like the full like costume shit, you can, but this also is just Halloween makeup that you can do if you want to look ooky spooky but don't want to go into like a full transformation, like turning yourself into Pinhead from Hellraiser, like, you know, because there's like two extremes, you know. I'm gonna go for the more chill version. You can go the more extreme version and transform if you want to. That is up to you. Also, because I'm still sick, I really don't feel like doing a lot right now, and I have to edit, film, and post this video all today because I've been sick, so I haven't had time until today. So yeah, I'm just gonna make it a little bit more simple for myself. So this video is gonna be very easy and simple. So yeah, let me stop rambling and let's get into it, okay? Okay. So like usual, I went ahead and primed off camera, and I'm going to be skipping things like foundation and concealer. Like, I'm going to tell you what I'm using and stuff like that, but I'm not going to show it on camera because everyone knows how to put on foundation. Everyone knows how to blend out some concealer. That's nothing new. It's just like normal everyday makeup. So I'm not really going to go in depth with that because who really cares? But I'm just going to go in with my Lancome Tint Eye Doll on a little L'Oreal beauty sponge, and I'm going to use that as my base. I just want to mention, you don't have to use an expensive foundation like the Lancome Tint Eye Doll. This was the first one I grabbed, so it's whatever. You can use whatever you want. You can use Maybelline, you know, it's whatever. Now it's time just to conceal. I'm just going to use my Maybelline Fit Me, and I'll be back after I do this in powder, and we'll get started on some actual makeup that's a little bit more ooky spooky. Oh, a good tip for when you're doing like ooky spooky makeup is to use a foundation that's lighter than your skin tone so you look sickly and stuff like that. But I'm currently out of my very light foundation, but typically I would use the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation in 06 Vanilla. But since I'm out, I don't have another really light foundation. So I just went in with my BH Studio Pro powder that is lighter than the foundation, the Lancome one I used, if I can get it open, just to kind of pale up the skin a little bit more. Obviously, it didn't work fantabulous, but it did lighten it a little bit. But yeah, let's get into the rest of the makeup. So another way to achieve that kind of dead look that you would get with a really light foundation is to use really cool contours and not like warm up your face with bronzer at all. And I'm going to use the Tarte Clay Play face palette, and I'm going to use the shade Desert, which is the cool contour shade in the middle of the 3 powder for the face. And I'm just going to run that into my cheekbones and on my jawline. Now this is a good contour shade for every day, but you would usually bronze and contour, but you're not going to bronze, so it's gonna make the face look a little muddy and contoury and not have like any warmth. So it's gonna, you know, make you look sickly. And now that that's done, we can actually start on the eyes, and the first part of the eyes is do the brows. And I like to do super dark black brows when I do Halloween looks. And so I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Gel Liner. It comes in a little pot, and it's in like blackest black. And I'm just going to take that on an angle brush, and I'm going to fill in my brows as normal, except for in the front, I'm going to flick up hairs, and it's going to make the brow look angrier and more like... So yeah, I'm going to do that real quick. Now that my brows are done, I also carved them out with concealer like you would a normal brow. We're going to move on to eyeshadow, and we're going to be using 2 palettes today. That is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette and then the Morphe 35B palette. Now, everyone knows the Jaclyn palette, and if you don't know what the 35B is, it's the really colorful one. Yeah. So I also just dragged that concealer that I used to carve off my brows onto the lids and then set that with the excess powder from the brush I used earlier to set my face. to, you know, prime my lids. So let's jump right into the eyeshadow, shall we? So first I'm gonna go in to the Morphe 35B palette, and I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M433 brush. It's a little blending brush. I'm gonna dip into this little red shade right here. It's above the neon orange, and I'm going to run that into my crease up pretty far up to the brow bone. So because that color pulls a little pink on the eyes, I'm going to deepen it up with this little, you know, reddy deep brown brick shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it in the same place, but not take it quite as high. Just a reminder, if you use the same palettes that I am, you want to be very careful because the Jaclyn Hill palette is very pigmented, especially when compared to the other Morphe palette that I'm using. And you just want to make sure you don't put too much of that deeper shade because you want to have that gradient from the deep to the lighter shade. Now you don't have to use the same palettes as I am, but if you decide to, just keep that in mind. So now that we have that, we're gonna go into the black shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm gonna take that on this little fluffy flat elf brush that I have. I don't know what the name of it is. It doesn't have one on it. I'm just gonna dip into that black shade right here, and we're gonna pat this all over the lid, and you're gonna take that from inner to outer corner all over the lid. Now I'm gonna go back into the first shade that we went into, the red one from the Morphe palette, the 35B, and I'm just gonna go in with this Kylie brush that comes with the Vacation palette, I believe, and I'm just gonna use the fluffy side to kind of blend out that black. You could go back in with that Morphe brush we originally used for the blacks. I just didn't want to because this one's a little bit more fluffier and less dense, and it's not going to lose that black pigment. It's just gonna buff out the edges so it still stays very, very. Now with this double-sided Urban Decay brush, I got this in the Naked Heat palette, but you can use any just kind of, you know, flat, fluffy smudger brush. I'm gonna go back in with that red shade from the 35B palette, and this is gonna go in the lower lash line. And then I'm going to deep it up with that red shade from the Jaclyn palette, once again on the outer third of the lower lash line. Now I'm gonna use the Tarte Sex Kitten liner in my waterline, and I'm just gonna pull down my eye like this with a little Real Technique sponge, and then I'm gonna run this in the waterline to make it, you know, close the eyes, make them look smaller and a little bit more sultry. I'm just gonna pop on some mascara. I'm using the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. Now, just a little like thing to say real quick, you can put on false lashes, but if you watch my Get to Know Me video, you know I hate false lashes. I don't like how they look on my eyes, but obviously you can't really see my lashes, even though this mascara is amazing. Like I said, just put on some false lashes, like maybe some 301s. Those are like the, you know, cult like drag queen lashes, and those are really big and you'll be able to see them. They'll like touch your brow, but I don't really want that. You know, I want to keep the eyes very like closed and small, so mascara still just works for me. And now to add a few more ooky spooky details, I'm gonna take what's left on that Morphe brush we used from earlier, and I'm gonna use that on the outer corner of my lips, both sides, and it is going to add shade and like an inflammation. I'm gonna kind of slowly drag it up to the Cupid's bow. You don't have to use the excess. You can dip into more if you want. I'm just gonna use the excess because I don't want it to be too intense, and I'm just gonna take that and begin to drag it, and it's gonna give it a more sickly, you know, dead, kind of inflamed look. And I'm also gonna take the excess that's on that Kylie brush I used earlier, and I'm gonna put that on my nose to also add a sickly vibe. And now I'm gonna go in with the gel liner that I used for my brows and a little flat brush from AOA Studio. This is the E116. And I'm gonna dip into that, and I'm gonna take that on my bottom lip line, and I'm gonna take it from the outer corner all the way to the other outer corner. I'm gonna take this Essence Liquid Black Liner. You could have used this for the bottom lip line. I just know I could be more precise with the brush and that gel. And then I'm gonna take this and then draw lines going down. Now, you could do the same thing to the eyes, but I'm actually going to still do lines, like little drip lines on the eyes, but I'm gonna use the NYX Vivid Brights Liner in red. And I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna stick to 3 lines, one in the inner corner, middle, and outer corner, and I'm gonna do that on both sides. And I went ahead and let those lines dry, and now I'm gonna go in with the black from the Morphe 35B palette, and I'm going in with this one and not the one from the Jaclyn palette because this one's a little bit less pigmented, and I don't want this to be super black like the eyes are. And I'm gonna take that on the same brush, and I'm gonna dust off as much as I can, and I'm gonna blend that around the lines that I just drew. And now that that's done, that is the completed look. So this is my little Halloween ooky spooky, very easy makeup tutorial. Really nothing in here is very difficult at all. It's all very beginner friendly, and it's also not going to take you a lot of time. So if you wanted to do something this similar or exactly this for Halloween, it wouldn't take you a lot of time, and you don't have to worry about having a lot of products. I used 2 eyeshadow palettes. I used very few brushes and very few other things. And there's also, if any of these products are too expensive for you, which I don't think, I use mainly drugstore or affordable brand things except for my foundation, but I already said you don't have to use an expensive foundation. You can really use any foundation. Like that NYX one I suggested is very inexpensive, and you know, you don't need a lot of products. It's very simple to do. So yeah, that is all for the video, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.